Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for things that you need to stop and or shop for. And on the last mildly exciting episode of Team PokeMart, we left you with a bit of a cliffhanger because our mystery egg has finally hatched. And inside of that egg was, rather unfortunately, a vat of pink goo. Pink goo with a face, that is, which makes it a Ditto. Hooray, Ditto! So instead of, an actually useful Pokemon that I could maybe put to work in the store, it's just a smiley blob. Oh well, you guys know the drill. In that case, it's time to sell these bad boy to one of you very fortunate Ditto-loving customers. And given that this is unofficial Team PokeMart merchandise, I will take quite literally anything for it. Even subscribing to this channel, which will keep you up to date on all of our latest stock, which is something that you should do anyway just for your own personal betterment. But with no further ado, let's convince you to buy goo. Ditto is a rather intriguing existence who dates back to the simplistic times of Generation 1. It is a normal type best characterized by being an amorphous pink chunk of goop, although this color can change to more of a light purple depending upon the whims of the Poke artists at any given time. Ditto's face presents the bare minimum requirements to be considered a face and is essentially two dots and a line. A curvy line, that is. Although thinking about it, maybe this isn't a face at all. Perhaps Ditto is just a case of pareidolia, which is the phenomenon that causes people to see patterns in random objects, most commonly in the form of faces, because humans like faces. With that in mind, perhaps we're giving Ditto far too much credit here in the realm of face havery. For example, it's entirely possible that these two random dots are not in fact eyes. They could be almost anything, like nipples, quite specifically Nuzleaf nipples. Or on the other end of the spectrum, perhaps Nuzleaf nipples are in fact Ditto eyes. Questions, oh so many questions. In addition to this, Ditto has what appears to be two arm-like protrusions, which can be more specifically referred to as pseudopods, which Wikipedia tells me is a temporary arm-like projection of a eukaryotic cell membrane. So that's nice, I think. I'm just going to call them arms though. But of course, the primary selling point of a Ditto would be its ability to transform, which is particularly unique in the world of Pokemon, able to instantly become a near perfect replica of whatever it sees. And this is also the origin of Ditto's name, as Ditto is an English word meaning that which has been said before, meaning that Ditto is the least original and individually creative of all of the Pokemons in the Pokeverse. According to its Pokedex entries in red and blue, Ditto is capable of copying an enemy's genetic code, which I have to say is rather impressive. In fact, let's give it a go right now. Alright Ditto, I want you to copy this Bulbasaur. Alright, transform, activate. Oh dear, well this is a bit of an abomination of nature, isn't it? Maybe it's just first transformation jitters. I mean, he's only existed in this world for like 5 minutes. So a shaky start, but look, we might try again a bit later. In terms of transformation benefits in a competent Ditto, this serves it very well in the wild, as if a predator all of a sudden has a hunger for goo, then Ditto will defend itself by becoming a replica of the predator in question. And in theory, this will cause an enemy to think twice about their actions because they were probably not prepared to pick on someone their own size. Quite literally, the exact same size. This is quite the gambit though, because if the opposing Pokemon were particularly ballsy, then this would leave Ditto in quite the precarious situation. Although in such cases, it is also possible for Ditto to transform into inanimate objects as well, such as a rock, to hopefully fool its opponent into forgetting that Ditto ever existed in the first place. And you know what? That sounds like a much easier task for an infant to accomplish. So Ditto, I want you to transform into this rock. Transform, activate. Ugh, oh dear Ditto, that is not a rock. That is a birthday balloon. A pretty good birthday balloon though, so I have to give you that, I suppose. So moving on, the transformations do look quite convincing to the untrained eye. Although there are several detriments to this practice, which is firstly that every now and then a transformed Ditto will keep its very basic emoji-like face, immediately letting anybody with a modicum of brain know that this is in fact a Ditto. Although this is not the case for all Ditto, in fact apparently each individual goop creature has its own strengths and weaknesses, with some being able to perfectly replicate faces, whilst carrying other detrimental traits like not being able to sustain a transformation whilst laughing. Interesting. Alright, birthday balloon Ditto, let's see if you have this particular weakness. I will now proceed to make you laugh using the one and only joke I know. Ahem. So a challenger rocks up to Pewter Gym to face Brock. The challenger says, "I'm here to defeat you and take the Boulder Badge." And Brock simply replies, "That is unacceptable." Onyx acceptable? You get it? It's a pun because Brock's trademark Pokemon is an Onyx. Well, very importantly, I have discovered that this Ditto has no sense of humor, and oh boy, that's going to drive the price down quite considerably. And now to put on our tinfoil hats for a second, there does exist a fascinating fan theory regarding why Ditto exists in the first place, which claims that the pinky goo is actually a failed clone of Mew, a creature that is said to contain the DNA of quite literally every single living Pokemon. And of course, we do know that there were active efforts to clone this being, the canon result of which would be Mewtwo, but that doesn't mean that other experiments were not conducted. And there is a lot of very circumstantial evidence to suggest that Ditto is basically just more liquidy Mew, such as the fact that Ditto and Mew share a near identical color scheme, even when it comes to their shiny variants, sporting a pink normal form and a blue shiny form respectively. Mew and Ditto also weigh the exact same amount, being roughly 4 kilos. They're both genderless, both capable of asexual reproduction, have the same base stats, are the only two Pokemon who can naturally learn Transform, and so on and so forth. There's quite a lot to this particular conspiracy theory, but it makes a fair bit of sense, and it would explain why Ditto can so readily change its cellular structure to mimic that of any other Pokemon, or actually just anything in existence, I suppose. Quite interesting indeed. However, I should warn you to be careful about going down this route, because all you need to do is watch one video on why Ditto is a failed Mew clone, and all of a sudden your YouTube suggestions is full of all sorts of wild ideas such as Ditto built the pyramids, Ditto shot JFK, and of course the New World Ditto Order. But it's just so hard to believe that this little guy is capable of any of that, or anything in general actually. Look, let's try again. Ditto, transform into this delicious cup of coffee. No, that is not coffee. That is tea, you fool. I didn't ask for tea, I asked for coffee. Only Galarian snobs drink tea. Now, as for some prominent Ditto from the Pokemon franchise, for such a unique little dude, bro, we really don't have a lot of people who tend to, main Ditto. And the most famous would probably be the goo owned by Duplica, a name every bit as creative as Ditto itself. I mean, really, if you're going to name your child Duplica, then you are practically condemning them to a lifetime of plagiarism. But in any case, Ash tried and failed to face off against Duplica in a Pokemon battle, whereby his Bulbasaur was swiftly dismissed by Duplica's Dittosaur. Interestingly, Duplica's Ditto is one of the few cases whereby a Ditto could not transform its face, although it eventually overcame its inner struggles and was able to perfectly transform within the span of a 20-minute episode. If only all of life's breakthroughs could be condensed into such an easily digestible time frame. Meanwhile, in the episode, A Talent for Imitation, we encountered a Ditto with a highly successful acting career, able to use its transformative powers for on-screen imitation purposes. However, due to working on a film with a nightmarish director named Corridor, Ditto ran away from production, and weirdly enough, it would be Team Rocket who taught this young gooey star to regain his confidence, allowing Ditto to return and complete production. Meanwhile, Corridor learned absolutely nothing from this experience and continues to be short-tempered, overly strict, and a general prick with a career far greater than he deserves. Such a toxic industry film. Still better than retail though. Upper management here at Team Pokemon is like having 10 Corridors expecting me to perform like a dancing monkey making product demonstration videos on a daily basis. And after this, I need to go and clean the bathrooms as well, which I do like 5 times a day. I mean, I don't know what the customers do in there, but the aftermath is like wading through a pile of muck. In other goo-related topics, some more fun facts about Ditto. Something about Ditto that I identify quite strongly with is that apparently Ditto does not get along with its own kind, making it a fairly prolific introvert. It doesn't want to talk to other Ditto in the same way that I don't want to talk to other humans, especially human customers, aka the worst kind of humans. Filthy, toilet-filling scum human customers. Ugh. Ditto, along with Manaphy, are the only two Pokemon who are both able to breed, while simultaneously being unable to be obtained themselves via the act of breeding. This means that Ditto is actually impossible to attain through egg form, which is something that I wish I realized before I wrote this whole mystery egg side story. You know what though? It's fine. In this world, Ditto did hatch from an egg because a wizard did it. But that should be everything you need to know, and even some stuff that you did not need to know when it comes to buying this Ditto off me for money. It's not the most useful Pokemon, it's not the most aesthetically appealing of Pokemon, but if you have a hankering for goo, then this little guy is for you. And I promise that by the time you get here, we'll have worked on this whole transformation thing a bit more. So Ditto, why not? Transform into me. Transform, activate. And oh, Wow. You know what? That's not actually so bad, you handsome devil. I mean, I think you could have been a bit more generous with the muscle definition, but yeah, this is pretty cool, actually. In fact, I might even be able to use this to take a few extra breaks on the clock. No one will even know the difference. Upper management never looks at my face anyway. So you know what? Change of plans. This Ditto is no longer for sale. In fact, it has been officially hired in the capacity of assistant local manager of Team PokeMart. Look, he even has a name tag and a cute little hat thing. But never fear, valued customer. We still have plenty of other creatures for you to dump your money into, or more accurately, exchange money for. Please do not fill our stock with your currency. But please do make sure to stop by Team PokeMart and say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you're interested in some of our other merchandise, then please do click these tantalizing links over here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates on our new stock. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and we will see you next time.